Hello everyone, welcome back to another update on the 944 Safari project. As you can see, it's getting a little bit more packed in here, a little bit more crowded, but that's all for good reason. Since the last video, and I can't remember completely, to be honest, where I stopped in the last update, but I'll go ahead and give another rundown here. So we have our wastegate on right here. This is temporary. We're gonna have a better solution here for the wastegate dump back into the downpipe because it's such a tight bend. As you can see, right down here is where the downpipe actually connects to the turbo, so we need to get that bend in. The turbo, I just put this blanket on, this very cool carbon fiber heat blanket from Summit, and also about, I don't know what the percentage would be, probably about 80% of the parts for this car, especially engine related, have come from Summit. So shout out to Summit Racing for being an amazing supplier. Including, I believe this stuff came from Summit, or it could be from Vibrant. It kind of split. Our hose stuff is from Vibrant and Summit combined. Coming around here, so on our compressor inlet, just a pipe coming up here to our intake box here, which is going to act as a box off here in the back, so that the air that comes up from the bottom and into the front is funneled up in here and trapped, so that this can get all the air and breathe as much as it wants to. On the other side, on our actual throttle body, which comes from the intercooler, and the compressor outlet goes into the intercooler, the air is cooled, comes out, goes into the throttle body through the bypass valve, or sorry, not bypass valve, blow-off valve. And this is almost like a wastegate for the compression side, or compressor side of the turbo. And that lets out the excess air there. Coming into the intake manifold, and then we have our fuel rail, which I think I talked about in the last video. All our fuel system is in here, pretty neatened up now. The water system is definitely the most cluttered. This pipe is very hard to bend and get into places, and it is pretty high profile. This blue, but it's good for actually getting to know that this is water lines, so that we don't get them mixed up. The biggest change here is the intake box. As you can see down here, all of the water lines go into the water neck or into the coolant filler neck on the back of the engine. And now I'm going to lift up the car and show you guys a little bit of the bottom. All right, so over here we have the downpipe that we fabricated. This is stainless steel with 4-inch flex pipe, and this is 3-inch diameter, all welded up. And this goes right here on the back of the turbo. Up there, as you can see the new blanket on there, a little bit better now. Very pretty little piece of work. And this goes up there and comes down and goes straight underneath the car. And this right here was for a temporary mounting of this resonator, which, fun fact, this resonator is made for the BMW race car that my dad did not use, and it lines up perfectly, and it's 3-inch, so we're gonna use it on the 944 and just have a resonator back. It's probably gonna be pretty loud, it might drone some, but we're gonna try our best to minimize that. But we also we really wanna unleash the sound of this 5-cylinder. You can get a closer look at the cooling system here. Some of the lines that come down to the radiator and intercooler. And all of these still need clamps. We ordered clamps and they were the wrong size. They're about 1/8 of an inch too small. You see the turbo a little bit more now as well. So they did not close very well, and that was pretty frustrating. But yeah, this is the update for now. Coming soon, I'm going to be getting some headlights. They're basically Jeep headlights, 7-inch halo lights. They have DRL, high beam, low beam, all that sort of function, and they have the same connector. So I'm hoping they're gonna be able to work with this car. I know some of the wiring is a little bit wacky right now, so we're gonna need to double check all that. More cooling stuff in here that I showed in that unboxing part. Some fittings and adapters for the wiring harness. All right, so a few more things that I want to talk about in this update. One being the wiring harness. So this is our relay and fuse box here. Super simple, already has some relays in there. The power cable here, this will go to the battery, I believe. So all of these are very well labeled, not that specific label. But these little yellow ones, like this one right here, is for CKP. I believe that's a crankshaft pressure, maybe crankshaft position. There's our cam position sensor, I believe. And then these smaller ones here are the fuel injectors. So this is injector number 3. That's one of the roadblocks we've come into, is these are pretty tight in there, and they're different connectors. So that's one of the adapters we had to get. And then of course our coils here, which all line up very nicely in this very compact harness here. And this is it right here. This is everything to power that car. This grommet is gonna go down here in this hole and run to the underneath the driver's side dash to our ECU. And I believe the cable's over here somewhere. This right here is the master cable. Not exactly the actual word for it, but this is what goes into the ECU, which is microscopic, by the way. It's about the size of my palm, but this Haltech Nexus is extremely powerful. And we're gonna talk more about that in the coming videos when we get to really wiring it. And the other thing that I want to talk about was the interior a little bit, because as you know, that is a complete disheveled mess. You can see some carpet right here right now, taking all apart to get all the wires we don't need out. But what I'm going to be doing about that is mostly undecided. But for the dashboard, used to be brown. If you remember from the initial videos, I painted it black. It didn't turn out half bad at all. The upper part, there's some runs and the cracks obviously, but the cover that I'm going to be getting is going to cover everything basically from this line up, and that's going to be a material, I'm pretty sure it's going to be plastic. But anything will look better than these cracks, so I'm not complaining about that. And that's also going to be coming very soon in the next update. I believe that is all for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in again, and I'll see you in an update very soon.